Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape, vinyl tape,
carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Man, I've got some exciting news to share with you today. I've got my friend Eddie on the other line. Eddie, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, my man. How about you?
I am doing well. So listen, I think congratulations is in order. You're going to be opening up a cannabis shop in the downtown area here in Trenton, New Jersey. How did all this begin?
Cool. It's been a long road for sure. We're definitely coming up on we actually just had our 4th year anniversary of our first storefront.
Yes.
Let me get in my car quick. I'm going to put you on my Bluetooth. So we started back in 2018. Well, actually, even way backer than that. Back in 2014, I moved from Pennsylvania out to Oregon to try to learn the cannabis business. I had a friend I was going to school with who was opening helping open up a dispensary, and was like, "Hey, man, if you want to come out, I got a job for you." So I said, "Say no more. I'll meet you out there. Give me 5 days to drive out, and I'll meet you."
Yes.
So that's so I did. Packed my little Subaru up, truck it across the United States, and land in Bend, Oregon, and just started working and grinding, learning everything, and then in 2018, I actually had a couple well-placed cannabis stocks.
Yes.
I was just saving some money and reading the news every morning, seeing how Canada is, coming for their federal legalization.
Yes.
And there was a huge rally in those publicly traded cannabis stocks. So I had a couple $1,000s in them, turned it into about 22, and that gave me and a couple partners our seed money to open up our first storefront. So that's exactly what we did. We moved back to Pennsylvania.
Yes. And
opened up a CBD kiosk in the mall.
Yes.
In the Lehigh Valley Mall.
Okay.
We had a couple. Yeah. It was just we had like 3 or 4 brands, and at the time we called ourselves the CBD Depot. We were renting just the kiosk that the mall gives you, and we're like. We know how to educate people on the products. We know how to source the good products and decipher, what we would like to sell and, what would be the most legitimate products.
Yes.
And that's pretty much how we started.
Wow.
That ended up being pretty successful for, what it was. And from there, we opened up a couple more stores in Pennsylvania and decided that we should probably rebrand it to Smooth Roots. I actually got a call one day from one of our vendors. And he was like, "Hey, man, I've got about 15 CB depots here on my list. I'm trying to figure out which one you are." So I was like, okay, we should think about rebranding.
Yes, yes.
So that's what we did. Then we ended up deciding on the name Smooth Roots,
Yes.
and then just a couple years down the line, we're just trucking along, selling a lot of CBD, trying to educate everyone on what it is and how it could help with everything that we know CBD and cannabis could help with.
Yes.
And it was actually my same friend who got me to move out to Oregon. He connected me with one of his friends who had a cannabis farm, a licensed farm in Oregon.
Yes.
And they were they started a CBD line. They're called Trichome Farms. So they started a CBD line. He connected us together. We started selling their CBD, and just we had just every time we got feedback, it was great feedback from customers. And our whole goal with the CBD stores, with having very, very little capital comparatively,
Yes.
Our goal was to transition into licensed dispensaries. And Trichome, they saw what we were doing on the East Coast, and they were also getting into dispensaries. So we decided to partner up together.
Awesome.
And pretty much just create as much of a farm to table cannabis brand and CBD brand as we could, with the farm for cannabis and CBD, cannabis and hemp. And then we ended up just opening up some dispensaries in Oregon together, and we actually just opened up our third dispensary out here about 2 weeks ago.
Wow! Congratulations.
And yeah, that's pretty much the story behind where we're at.
So I know that. So Eddie, that sounds good. And then first of all, thank you for taking the time out to talk to me, because this whole cannabis thing has been a hotbed, particularly in urban communities, and particularly for people of color. So when Roland, who I also interviewed on the podcast, said that you guys were working on a deal to bring a dispensary to Trenton, and you might be available and amenable to an interview, I said, let me have your number. And so he put me in contact with you. So here's what I want to do now is, how difficult was it to get a license in New Jersey? How difficult and how competitive was that?
So we actually don't have the license yet. It's absolutely, it's very tough.
Yes.
It's extraordinarily tough to go through all of it.
Yes.
The license application itself is just immense. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yes.
And that's just for the state.
Okay, got you.
So you got to apply to the state, and then you also have to apply to the local municipality where you're living in. And just as there's a lot of nuances, I guess is the right word, between the different license types. Like you could be a micro license, or you could be one of the class 1 through 5s. Or you can apply for a conditional license, which basically allows you to apply without a location and then find one and then convert your conditional to the normal application. And then there's all different nuances there with financial requirements. You got to show your tax returns. Like for that conditional, you're ineligible for application if you make more than $200,000 a year, or $400 filing jointly.
Wow.
And then there's just a lot that goes into it, and then the application itself is very extensive.
Okay.
And in order to be competitive and to put it together the best way, you got to have a lawyer who really knows what they're doing, or at least I thought it would be beneficial.
Yes.
And that ends up costing itself a couple $1,000s, and just the time it takes to write it all out. Or what I did was I wrote out as much of it as possible and sent it to our lawyer for review.
Good for you.
Oh man, it was weeks and weeks of gathering all the information and putting it together, and that's just for the state. So then you got to think about the local municipalities. They all have their own different resolutions that are either adopting the adult use cannabis program, or opting out of it and not allowing it. And that itself is extremely difficult to find. Finding a location is even harder than doing the application process.
Wow.
Because of all the zoning requirements and distance requirements that each municipality sets,
Yes.
and they're all different from each other.
Now, Eddie, let me ask this question. Was Trenton, which is our municipality, were they asking you to live in the area in which you were going to be opening up a dispensary?
So that's part of it. At the state level,
Yes.
is you have to either, well, actually, for a micro license, you have to either live in the municipality or in an adjacent municipality.
Yes.
For the Class 5 retail you applied for,
Yes.
it does not require that.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't require that, but what they do is you get like bonus points for showing what you're going to do, especially at the local level, showing what you're going to do for the community that you're going to be
Yes.
conducting business in,
Yes.
how you're going to hire and how it's going to be ran and all that.
Yes.
So I think I think we had a pretty good application with the CBD stores, because we're showing everybody what they want to see.
Yes.
And we've been doing it for a long time, like the whole education piece. And we're from the relative areas. I've been I was born in New Jersey,
Yes.
grew up in Pennsylvania, but every time we go to hire somebody, they're from the town that we live in. And
Okay.
whenever we have another level that like another upper level becomes available, we
Yes.
always look to hire from within, and just try to be as good of a benefit to the community.
Yeah.
Support the community that supports you.
Now let me ask some questions. Why did you select Trenton? Because it's a capital of New Jersey, but it's a tough urban area. Why did you select Trenton?
So Roland, honestly, he's just a great person, great partner.
Okay.
And I really liked his, he's super into the idea of revitalizing
Understood.
Trenton and downtown Trenton, and he's very passionate about it, and I love that.
Yes.
And I wanted to be a part of it because it's right across the water from where we're from.
Yes.
And I just feel like I would like to be in a position to help someone like that help the community.
Okay.
And it was that, and he had a great location too, so it just seemed that all the pieces were aligning very well, and we worked great together.
Gotcha.
So it just seemed like it would be a
now
the
Eddie,
best path.
Now, Eddie, one of the challenges for your dispensary being in an urban community is very simple. How do we square with the minority community that here comes a dispensary and now they're selling cannabis for once was never it was outlawed for us to have access to. Now you have access to. Are you hiring from folks from the community? Are you hiring folks that may have those kind of records, drug records?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So like in part of our application, we talk 100% hiring local.
Yes.
And also working with like reentry programs.
Awesome.
Like if somebody served time for cannabis, then like that should be the next person in line to have an opportunity to work in the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
just that's just like number one right there.
Got you. Now,
and hiring local, supporting the people who live locally.
Yes.
And like even in Oregon, what we do with the dispensaries is every time when we open up a dispensary, I look for the people who are from the area and, qualified for the position. And then we always try to be very competitive in wages.
Awesome.
Like with the wages that we start at, and then we also have a lot of sales incentives.
Yes.
We do a little bit. We do a profit share with our bud tenders or sales representatives.
Yes.
So as they're making more sales and making the business money, they're getting a portion of it, and then we also do sales bonuses and stuff too. So on top of that, if whoever sells like the most flower, or we'll work with certain brands. To whoever sells the most of a certain brand in the month, they get an extra bonus. So it just increases the hourly wages, and then tips are huge too in this
Okay.
business. Tips are big.
Okay. Now, my next question, and I think you mentioned this before, what would be some of the immediate improvements that Smooth Route would make in the local downtown area?
So right off the bat, I think just hiring just keeping all the revenue that's generated
Yes.
in the area.
Okay.
With the people that we hire, and then also working with certain organizations like Roland with the Trenton Downtown Association,
Yes.
and Greater Trenton, and working with those organizations,
Yes.
and donating portions of revenue to their goals and initiatives to
Yes.
help clean up the town, reinvest in the town. That's all stuff that we've had conversations with these organizations about, working with them,
Okay.
in order to, just help do our part once we're, up and running and generating some revenue.
Now, when do you think you guys are going to be up and running?
That's a great question. It's that is the golden question right there.
Yeah.
So the state has a lot of applications to get through. And then also the bigger issue is with the city of Trenton itself was they're moving forward now. They're working together now as of June 2nd. They voted to put together their cannabis review board.
Yes.
So the city has to adopt it, institute their cannabis review board, and then create the local application process.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the local application itself.
Okay.
So they're just now starting to put the board together who will do all that.
Okay.
Now, however long, so it was, I believe it was August was when they said, okay, we want this.
Yes.
We just need to, get our ducks in a row.
Yes.
So now we're in June. So it's almost a year.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, August. I think it was August it was. So now, it's been like 10 months now. So it's, a slow process, but I get it, because they want to do it right.
Yes.
And so then we got to have them put it all together, and then us apply and get there. And we're pretty close, we were able to secure zoning approval,
Yes.
For our property based on, conditionally based
Yeah.
on us getting the license and being approved by the city.
Yes.
So that's a big portion of it. So now realistically, we just need to get the city resolution and have them say, all right, you guys are, you're welcome to do business here.
Okay.
And then we supply that to the state. And theoretically, then the state would be like, okay, you guys are cleared to go. And then we start going. And how long that's going to take, honestly, I don't know.
We don't have that type of crystal ball, Eddie. But I just don't.
Unfortunately not.
Let me ask a crystal ball question. So let's suppose that you find a worker, African American employee, and you want to venture out and do another location. Would you consider partnering with that African American employee to start another branch of this location of this business?
Yeah, so we're actually doing that with this dispensary in Trenton.
Okay.
Roland is going to be part of it.
Yes.
And also a gentleman that he introduced me to, who's a local entrepreneur in the area.
Okay.
His name is Liad, and
Okay.
he's from Trenton. He's been a part of the community for a long time. And he's also, had some issues with cannabis in the past.
Yes.
So, we're bringing him on as an equity partner. He's got a percentage in the company.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And in the license. So,
Okay.
so yeah, that's something that we're already doing.
Yeah, I would love to talk to him. Please give him my number, because I would love to interview him on the podcast as well. Because I guess the other question would be, so if he's an equity partner, he has an equity stake. So that means on the board, he's able to make those decisions as well.
Yep. He definitely has decision making in there for sure.
Awesome. Listen, this is fantastic. So now what would be your hours, once you are able to open up?
So that's also dependent on the town.
Yes.
They set, what hours we're allowed to be open.
Yes.
So realistically, whatever the city of Trenton says we're allowed to do,
Okay.
as long as it's not super late, which it never really is,
Okay.
um, that's
Now,
probably what we'll be subject to.
now you're able to just purchase the product there. You cannot light up light up the product in your store.
No, no, not yet.
Okay.
Maybe as an industry we'll get there, and
Okay.
I believe they have wording for it, in the state, like in the state legislation, but there's no licenses or anything yet for it. That's going to be a couple years down the line.
Wow. Now, so but that would not preclude you from opening up another business next door to do like a coffee and smoke lounge. Could you do that, or that's
No, no,
wow?
yeah, you could definitely do that. Like if
Okay.
you were, thinking about the future,
Yes.
you could definitely open one of those up and,
Okay.
just run it, operate it, make some dank coffee, and,
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
just have the space secured and ready to go.
now I think that you had mentioned this earlier that one of the things that you would do in Colorado, you would do here. You would do workshops to talk about the health benefits of cannabis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I try to do that as much as possible now.
Yeah.
Like I was on for a while until I had to move back to Oregon for a little bit, so I
Yes.
haven't been on the meetings too much. But the um the healthcare committee for the city of Allentown, the Chamber of Commerce,
Yes.
I was sitting on that board for a while.
Yes.
Just to help. Because sometimes the questions would come up, so I would be there to help answer them and write articles that we would put out in the papers. I would get invited to speak on panels
Yes.
about cannabis, how it helps, and I was actually just invited to speak at the Princeton. It's a real estate it's a real estate panelist about cannabis.
Okay.
And they asked me to sit on that and be a
Okay.
panelist on that.
Okay.
So, anywhere that we can help educate people and spread awareness,
Yes.
we're all in for. And I actually was just I'm in the early communications about working with Mercer County Community College and
Yes.
their cannabis program
Awesome.
to help train the people who want to get into the industry,
Yes.
help train them and step up their knowledge so that when businesses are looking to hire,
Yes.
they've got a well-trained pool of local local people to
And
choose from.
and would that be a certificate program or associate degree program?
Yeah, it's a certificate program.
Okay.
A lady named Sarah Trent, I believe, was the founder of it, and
Okay.
I think it's a program that they just train you up on all the knowledge of cannabis,
Yes.
and just make sure that
Wow.
you're well aware of the product that you're selling, so that when you have a lady with like rheumatoid arthritis come in, she gets the product that she needs. It's going to help her out.
Yes. Now you said that you've teamed up with Tricom.
Trichome, yep, Trichome
Tricom.
Farms.
And so your product is going to be coming from them, and they're going to be shipping the product to you, or they're going to have an area of growth in Jersey, a farm in Jersey.
So right now you're not allowed to have co-located. If we're retail, you're not allowed to have cultivation.
Okay.
And if you're cultivation or manufacturing, you're not allowed to have retail. That's different for the medical program with the ATC licenses.
Okay.
It's kind of 100% backwards, but that's how it goes. So, hopefully, a local grower, that we know will be able to get a license, and he might be able to, operate with our name. But we're subject to the state of New Jersey, so we'll be buying from all the local farmers and everything from New Jersey, and then at a point where we would be able to get our own license, that would be awesome, and I'm sure we would, but we can't really do it right now.
Wow. Now, I mean, this has been so informative, Ed. Anything else you would like for our listening audience to know about you coming to Trenton and the great work that you're looking to do here in Trenton. And I think that I would love to see you guys do an open house and to encourage as many African Americans and people of color to apply to be a part of this business venture.
Yeah, absolutely. That's once we get to that stage,
Yes.
that's definitely something that I want to do, and I want to plan with Liad is to do,
Yes.
because he has a music agency, it's a pretty big spot, that's right up, like where he's about 2 numbers down from us on Warren Street, where we're looking and where we have our lease with Roland.
Yes.
So that's where we would like to do it, help bring people into his place.
Yeah.
And then also start generating leads on people on the local community, so that once we are able to get up and rocking,
Yes.
we got a solid team of people that can help us rock it.
So 2 things, Eddie. First of all, I am pretty well versed in the city of Trenton. And so I would certainly love to help you, interview people and do some of the workshops, give you space to do some of the workshops, man.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be totally awesome.
And then your partner Liad, give him my number. I would love to invite him on the show because I'm not too far. I'm born and raised in Trenton, but my church is right around the corner from Starbucks, which is right next door to Roland's piece of property and your property. So
okay.
I can always meet Liad at Starbucks, and we can chop it up there because I would love to have him again on the podcast, man. Because this, when the whole notion about licensing and Trenton getting a license, everybody was up in arms because they wanted to make sure that people of color and people who have been done wrong through this whole policing practice and policy would have an opportunity to be a part of this money train, because literally this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a money train. And so I'm glad that you've got Liad, who's African American, on part of your board, and also part of equity stake in the property, so in the business. So I would love to meet with him and really get down and have a conversation with you, with him and you, if you'd be
definitely
willing to share his number with me. Now,
I would.
Yeah. Now let me ask this question. So very quickly, what is your pitch when you're trying to interest people into buying cannabis for whatever reason? What's your pitch?
Honestly, I don't really have much of a pitch.
Okay.
I try to ask questions
Yes.
and try to understand what a certain person is using it for.
Yes.
Because there's so many different things, and everybody's different. Cannabis affects everybody differently.
Yes.
Some people use it recreationally. A lot of people use it medically for many different things. So
Yes.
I just try to get as much information from the customer or patient as possible.
Yes.
And then that's when I'll start just not even a pitch, just explaining what the different products are, the different ratios of cannabinoids, the ingredients, and what might be best for that certain person.
Now, the other thing, because this is the Entrepreneur Enclave, I got to ask this question. Did the state or did the city also require you to present some form of a business plan when you were applying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All the way. Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
big time.
Got you. And so so in the business plan, when it talked about demographics based on your location being downtown Trenton, what do you think your customer base is going to look like?
Honestly, it's all across the board.
Okay, gotcha.
African American people, Caucasian people,
Yes.
Hispanic people, men, women,
Okay.
gender neutral, everybody.
Okay.
Everybody smokes weed and likes weed or uses it for That's what I find is almost everybody smokes weed.
Gotcha.
And then a lot of people who use it medicinally who don't smoke it, we get just earlier before,
Yes.
22-year-old dude comes in, just wants the dankest nugs that we got.
Yes.
And then the next customer that comes in, she was a 75-year-old woman with real bad rheumatoid arthritis who
Yes.
doesn't want to get high.
Yes.
She just wants pain relief.
Gotcha.
So we got something for everybody, and we got the education and the knowledge to help make sure that person is going to understand
Yes.
what they're using, how it's going to help them, and also make sure that they're not going to get high and freak out.
Awesome. Oh, now that was funny. Everybody wants to get high. What So in the beginning, what were your challenges getting into the industry versus what are your challenges getting into Trenton?
The challenges for sure is finances
Got you.
because it's not cheap.
Got
It is
you.
not cheap to get into.
Okay.
That's why we started with CBD with that very little capital because we didn't need to spend many thousands of dollars on a lawyer,
Yes.
application fees that are non-refundable,
Oh wow.
and just oh yeah,
So
it's
when you
pretty crazy.
when you apply but you don't get a license, you don't get that fee back.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and it's a lot different now.
Okay.
Like the state application fee for us was like only a couple $100, but back before
Yes.
in the medical program, the barriers to entry were huge because, like for New Jersey, for instance, when they first opened up, they only allowed 6 licenses for the entire state, and
Wow.
they were vertically integrated licenses. So you had to be the retailer, you had to be the manufacturer, you had to be everything,
Yes.
and you were allowed to have up to 3 dispensaries. But the application fee, like the quote that I got from the lawyer for putting together the application, was like $40,000.
What?
And you ain't getting that back. Oh yeah, you're not getting that back
Wow.
from the lawyer, and that's you're not guaranteed a license. And then like good luck getting the license because
Yes.
you got companies like Curaleaf who are publicly traded with a $4 billion market cap,
Yes.
and some of the largest. That's what I honestly think is really backwards about how states go about this is they preach the social equity thing,
Yes.
which I love and stand behind 100%.
Yes.
And I hope we try to show that and put our money where our mouth is with bringing Liat on and
Yes.
Roland and people from the community. I can guarantee you that Curaleaf didn't bring anybody local on. They're from like Nevada. They operate in the hardest markets to enter into, like New Jersey, like Ohio,
Okay.
Illinois, places like that. And they're just, they're old, they're your typical businessman
Got you.
coming from like Wall Street, and they're well funded, so they can just pour money into this.
Yes.
Like they were some of the first licenses in New Jersey, and now when New Jersey went from its medical program
Yes.
to the recreational program, now you've got smaller companies like me, and they didn't have these social equity requirements or anything like that for the medical programs.
Yes.
So New Jersey, they allowed the large corporations to come in, eat up the market for the first couple of years, be able to, restrict the market kind of with how little product was on the market.
Mhm.
They're allowed to charge major premiums for the product. So like an eighth of weed that we sell over here for $25-$30 in Oregon, they're selling for $50-$60-$70 an eighth.
Wow.
A half gram cartridge is like $70, where we
Wow.
sell it for a gram for $18 for your budget dab,
Yeah.
or your budget cartridge, or we have nice high end rosin cartridges. They're like $45, not $70. And now when New Jersey flipped from its medical to rec, you're not allowed to be vertically integrated. So the ATC licenses are completely vertically integrated, ate up the market share, and are allowed to have up to 3 dispensaries. We can only apply for 1 dispensary, and then we can't be cultivation or manufacturing and be vertically integrated. And if you're manufacturing or cultivation, you're allowed to be either or both, but you can't be retail or apply for multiple licenses. So now you've got us, the small companies who are, who we bring on the people, and we have the social equity aspect.
Yes.
But now we have to compete with these already major monsters,
Yeah.
who are now major monsters in the state, in that state's market, who have multiple dispensaries and are vertically integrated, who are able to take advantage of owning the supply chain and keeping, making those margins and keeping the margins down and increasing their profits, where, we're now subject to, not that.
Wow. Now.
And we're the smaller company, self-financed, not publicly traded. It's me and my partners,
Yeah.
and that's our company. And we're just trying to grow it and, and do our thing and, be as good as, community involved business as we could be.
Now, is there like a lobbying group? Is there like a chamber of commerce for the cannabis industry that you could go to and say, we need to have regulations, we need to do this for the state, or the state needs to do this for us? Or is there such
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there is. There's actually a couple of them. There's New Jersey focused ones, and there's even more nationally focused, bigger national focused ones.
Okay, and so they're jumping behind this conversation, trying to make sure that it's a fair and equal playing field now, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
And we're actually trying to do that ourselves too, and the more locally focused in Trenton is have, because Trenton's going to have their cannabis review board,
Yes.
like set up by the city.
Yes.
So we want to have one that's locally focused of the city, of the businesses in the city,
Yes.
who are, operating and, running it day to day and seeing the issues firsthand that,
Yes.
We need to relay and make sure that, is voiced and heard and understood and acted on by the governing body of the business.
Yes. Oh, this is interesting, Eddie. Thank you. So listen, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I am just so grateful that you took my call and we had a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And I can't wait for you and your partner to hit the ground running, and certainly nothing but success. And I want you to consider the Entrepreneur Enclave for all of your discussions and conversations that we need to have going forward, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I really appreciate you giving me the time, come on your podcast,
Yes.
Giving me a more of an elevated voice and local voice too.
Yes.
That's huge for us, because I want to make sure that people are, they know what we're trying to do for the community and how we can, get back and be a good part. And yeah, anytime you want to have a conversation, I'm always down to have a conversation and talk
again,
about
Eddie, having said that, I want you to know the podcast is the unabridged version of who you are. So if there's anything else you would like to say to the podcast listener, anything you would like to say to the African American community in terms of what you're going to do, please do so now on this platform, buddy, because I think folks are going to want to hear it. Because once we drop this, I'm going to make sure everybody hears it so we can hold each other accountable, man.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, honestly, I think we hit pretty much everything, until we really get onto the ground and working with the organizations.
Yes.
Then we can be like, all right, we've got, this is the money that we're generating. Let's do it here. But, at least to get it off the ground, I want to get a solid team of the local people, trained up and work with the reentry programs and all, because I think that's huge. Because if you're somebody who was, unfairly targeted by the war on drugs, which was just ridiculous.
Yes.
And you served time or, just had any type of, issues with the law for doing what's now becoming legal, you should 100% be first in line to be able to be part of it.
Absolutely. Listen, Eddie, you have been fantastic. Continued success. And I want to make sure that you and I can have a conversation with your partner, or at least I can talk with your partner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I appreciate it, and I will. I'll share his number with you, and we'll get him on here.
All right, buddy. Listen, let me know when you're in the Trenton area. I'd love to meet you face to face so we can do something in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Definitely.
We'll talk and text you then, buddy. Thank you so much.
Great.
All
no
right.
problem.
Bye.
Have a good one.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email Kevin at minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.